on the play. Yeah, pretty decent hand. Could be better with an untapped white source or like an artifact already, but we get to... Well, we're very well set up against a creature deck and pretty terribly set up against a more controlling deck. Mezzil is a Pauper grinder. Okay. Yeah. I guess I'm not active enough in the Pauper community to know all the grinders. Like, I know 420 Dragon, I know Hellotech, but other than that, many of the grinder names I'm not too familiar with. Did I go 12-0? I didn't think so. I lost the game, right? Maybe I didn't. 2-0, 2-0, 2-0, 2-0, 2-0, 2-0. No, I lost in round 1 to Burn. Yeah, we lost game 1 of... No, wait. We lost game 2 of Burn. Yeah, I'm 12-1 in games. So many of them felt so close that I felt I had already lost the game because we were so close to losing that I had mentally given up, and then we made the comeback and ended up winning anyways. But yeah, sadly round 1 Burn opponent, crushing my perfect streak so far. Okay, let's kill this and not get ourselves dazed. And then this one you can daze if you want to. Disappointed, yeah. I'm sorry. Sorry to disappoint you. That's the price that comes with making our deck a lot worse in the matchup. Losing to random Burn opponents. Well... guess I'm going Journey, because that allows me to play around Spell Stutter still. I mean, not this turn of course, but like I can have this Galvanic Blast to deal with an instant speed Spell Stutter at some point. The downside is that it might open me up to be vulnerable against Spire Golem if I don't find like an extra artifact here, though most likely there's just blue-red over, and then I don't have to worry about that. Yeah, it looks like blue-red over. Top 8 is overrated, yeah. It's all about making perfect runs. If you're 12-1 in games and make top 8, what is it really worth? Don't have an artifact worth bouncing here though. That is pretty unfortunate. So yeah, basically I have valued the instant speed removal over the removal that is like a little clunkier but costs more, so that you can like get it around spell status right that way if they don't have 2 fairies. But yeah, I really want to stop Ninja of the Deep Hours from hitting me, so prefer to have an answer to an end of turn spell stutter here in Galvanic Blast. Them not doing anything I'm fine with though. Even Augur of Bolas or something would be pretty annoying here, because they get to develop something onto the board that the Ninja can then profitably bounce. Still representing this Galvanic Blast instead of allowing myself to cast Glintalk, because I don't want to tap out for Glintalk and run it into Spellstutter. That seems like a recipe for disaster. Would much prefer to find some lands here though. But my opponent's also flooding out pretty hard, unless they're on a Moldrifter based version. Or I guess they can gush the lands back to their hand and then brainstorm them away. But currently this is much more lands in play than my opponent really wants to have. What do you think about the mono blue Delver deck in the current meta? Yeah, I think it's still tier 1, and I don't think it's much worse. It's probably like a little bit worse than blue-red, but not by a lot. Okay, this one again dodges Spell Stutter. Yeah, glad to have motivated you to play some Pauper, and yeah, see you around soon. Gosh, okay. So they finally are creating some card advantage. Don't actually feel as ahead here as I should with them not doing anything for quite a while. Like, my hand is full of cards that don't really do much. These two, and then like these are pretty awkward into spell stutter potential. Though I guess like last turn I didn't want to cast these into spell stutter because they could spell stutter my Glinthawk. I Galvanic Blasted and then they counter spell my Galvanic Blast, and that would have worked out poorly for me. If they don't have 4 mana open, I'm more comfortable running out a Glinthawk, which is going to be the case next turn. Double spell stutter, yeah. Double spell stutter was exactly the reason why I didn't want to cast it last turn, like double spell stutter or spell stutter count as well. Double spell stutter on my core Skyfisher would have still been fine because I can Galvanic Blast the second one. Okay, I guess Battle Screech is still better this turn because it's very difficult for my opponent to beat. And then that sets up a nice flashback next turn. If they do counter it this turn and they need another hardcast counterspell to deal with it. Yeah, so we're getting all these counterspells out of their hand. The Ponder they have already cast, so we don't have any information left over what they have. And they have to bolt my random Thraben Inspector also to get the ninja hit in. Though that's still pretty annoying for me. Yeah, Scrat or bolt. Awkward. God damn it, Matrix. They Ponder it, then Bolas. It's possible, yeah, I think so. So then they still have a Ponder in their hand. Cast Augur, puts Ponder into the hand. Yeah, you're right, they still have a Ponder. Yeah. Tapping double blue, wow. That seems strange. Though I guess they're just running out of counterspells at some point. And they still have double blue open here. Okay, no longer have double blue open. Well, getting hit by ninja once is something that you can rarely stop from happening. You just have to make sure it never hits you twice. Hit me once, shame on you. Hit me twice, shame on me, you know? Okay. Likely getting spell starter here. Then I Galvanic Blast to make sure it doesn't happen, and then I get rid of the ninja. Seems like a decent turn of events. Though I still would prefer to have a little bit more lands here, as well as have drawn a lot less Prismatic Strands than I did. Still in a reasonable spot. But yeah, they're slightly ahead on cards, slightly ahead on lands, so not that great. They got the Bolas from the Ponder. No, they cast Bolas after Ponder. They went Ponder into Bolas into Reveal Ponder. So, and Preordain, yeah. They're just netting so much card advantage here. And usually I should be equally as good or better than them at that. Again, this is not working out too well. They're still flooding out, so unless they find a second gush, that might be a problem for them. Well, time to rip another white creature so I can Battle Screech. Go Thraben Inspector. Damn it. Yeah, I set it up so that I'm in a much better spot by finding a white creature here, instead of setting it up so that I can cast Lightning Bolt, because it didn't feel too important to cast Lightning Bolt this turn. Still slightly ahead on the board in terms of creatures, but their hand is likely full of burn spells. Why didn't you bounce land, replay it, then bounce with second hawk? Yeah, I don't, like, I think I value card advantage much more than I value tempo with the way this game is shaping up. So I think bouncing land with Hawk is just awful. I need to be drawing cards every time. Or at least like bouncing a Violet, which ends up drawing me cards later. Yeah, my mana situation here is just super awkward. This time I went for double bolt being opened for spell stutter. Like if they spell stutter, I need to shoot down 2 fairies. But now I'm unable to cast this Glinthawk, though Glinthawk would still run into spell stutter regardless of how many bolts I have open to protect myself. It's not looking good. Yep. Now they do get to ninja me most likely. Can potentially stop the ninja from hitting me if they don't have another one in hand. If they have double ninja in hand, I'm just super screwed. Because then they just bounce this and... Oh, god damn it. Yeah, this is not good. This is the exact type of game that you end up losing against this deck, where they have more card advantage than you and then end up just snowballing you with ninja hits. Looks bad. Yeah, and my draw was just way too clunky. And I did draw these prismatic strands, which are pretty weak. I think I want to pass with 1 open though, so that I can get them into the graveyard and next turn try resolving a Palace Sentinels. That might help me get back into the game. Also, they will likely Scrat or Lightning Bolt away my Glinthawk here, and I want to keep it on the board. Yeah, so they need like another counter here, though if they just spell stutter this, I'm super dead. Right. Okay. Well, I guess, no, I can still flash it back if they spell stutter it, but I keep falling further behind. Yeah, I've definitely done that discard play today. That came up already against Tireless Tribe, but yeah, obviously I want to get value out of it whenever possible so that I don't keep falling behind on card advantage. Spell stutter seems like the worst thing for me to let them bounce, though any kind of ninja hit is going to be problematic here still. God damn it, opponent. Well, I can prevent the card draw by flashing back Prismatic Strands, but then I don't really have a way of keeping my Monarch. Probably still worth it. I prevent a bunch of damage and let them not draw a card. Wait, what? Oh, they found it off the Ponder? Holy moly. Well, sure. I guess then, like, they bounced this one, the Fairy Miscreant. They didn't have a Spellstarter in. They might have let it resolve. Not sure. Yes! Well, this is nice, though. This gives me some hope. But, do I have to wait for their Fairy Miscreant to come down, though? That's the big question. Like, either I get rid of 2 of their creatures here, or I, like, greedily wait for a Fairy Miscreant. I think I have to be greedy with how weak my draws at the moment. This might go wrong, but feels like it is higher upside. Because like I can respond to the trigger now and make them not draw a card and also kill the extra fairy. But if this gets countered, it's a huge blowout for me. Oh, god damn it. Okay. Well. Well, these prismatic strands are actually doing better than expected. They likely should have just responded to my electricity, because then I can't afford to give protection from red, because it both protects my own creature as well as theirs. So that was like another misplay. My opponent has been playing pretty loose. Their draw has been great, but like their draw has been great for the matchup at least. They didn't do anything for turn like 2 to 5. But that's pretty ideal if you're generating card advantage while not doing anything. And then having a high density of spells to the sprites and counter spells is the most important thing for my opponent. Wait, I should not have tapped like this, of course, but it won't really end up, might end up mattering. I just want to recast it anyways after Glint talking, so. They can daze it, but yeah, I wanted to wait one more turn on my Palace Sentinels while building a board. And then next turn I have like Palace Sentinels with Galvanic Blast and Alchemist Vial backup, so it doesn't get stolen from me. So yeah, I think my opponent did some minor mistakes, but they didn't really punish my opponent in any way. Yeah, we are in game 1 of round 7 here. And the match doesn't really matter here, it's only for pride, as well as finding out my opponent's land. My opponent's deck list. That's what happens when you read one word and then try to say another one. Okay, no attacks, I like to see that. Even the trade of Ninja against Glint Hawk wouldn't have been that great for me. So please don't counter my Palace Sentinels. Shouldn't be that easy for opponent to do that. Because they only have one counter spell left in their deck, and Spellstutter doesn't do it against Galvanic Blast. The king is arriving, yeah. God damn it. Well, I can still disrupt this, of course. Okay. Okay. It's fine. Okay, I'm the Monarch. They can still counter my Prismatic Strands. Wait, I still have Battle Screech? Okay, that's also great. Okay, let's do that. And then use the Battle Screech to Prismatic Strands. And then cast the Prismatic Strands from my hand. I might actually be stabilizing this game. Yeah, I have to start. Like, I definitely agree. I tap my Karulu lands too late quite often. That's kind of a bad habit. I'm slowly working on improving that. Yeah, unless they take the Monarch from me, Goblin Master, that was the main thing I wanted to avoid. But yeah, from now on, I feel like I'm pretty favored here. They can't really make any good attacks into my board. Well, they seem to disagree. I guess this double block is kind of good for me, because I'm Prismatic Strandsing anyways. And there's no way for me to keep my Monarch if they counter my Prismatic Strands. Though these attacks don't make a lot of sense if they do counter it. They can like lightning bolt one of these two to keep their ninja alive, but that still seems fine for me. Yeah, exactly. Because now I get to keep my Monarch, that's best case. Yeah, it feels like opponent had all the tools and then kind of got outplayed. Okay. Sorry chat, I have to focus a little bit and make sure I don't time out. But yeah, now I'm feeling great about this. There are 2-2, guess not. Keep reminding you tap. I mean, I'm aware of it, and I did. Thanks for nothing, bot. I'm 6-0 in matches and 12-1 in games, and we're currently in the round 7, which is kind of an irrelevant win and in and lose and also be in match for Pride. I'm actually level 1, so just playing for funsies and to see what Dr. Worm is bringing to the table. Can probably start getting aggressive soon with prismatic strands available to me. Though I don't really want to be throwing the prismatic strands away for no reason. So having like blockers that block for value still is pretty nice. Yeah, okay, after I cast this Battle Screech, I'm confident in going aggressive. Sure. Yeah, there was definitely a time where I had 4 cards in hand and they had 7. But we kind of got through that point because so many of their cards are pretty low impact. Also, my opponent drew like a low amount of Gush and never really combined like Gush plus Brainstorm. We did fight through a bunch of spell starters and counter spells. Yay! That was a nice game. Definitely felt like I was losing from turn 4 to turn 8 or something, and then somehow we got back into it. Never sure on this card in the matchup. Probably still worth to have, yeah. And then Prismatic Strands can come out, I think. Though they did a great job that game, actually. And what else do I cut? Like, these are pretty low impact, but they're like enabling my core Skyfishers. I think I want all the flyers. Palace Sentinels is like pretty sketchy, but having some of them still allows me to outgrind them and offers me like a different angle of card advantage. So not sure on that. Yeah, maybe cut like 2 of these. Maybe like a Journey, though Journey helps against Stormbound guys, for example. Yeah, for them it's Bolt and Scrat, and then they have Pyroblast and Electricry in their sideboard also. The red counter spell, yeah, one of the best cards in the format for sure. Sandstorm sometimes gets played, yeah. I don't really care about Sandstorm, but it is like they play the same cards that I do, and then they have Scrat instead of Galvanic Blast because they have no basics and I have artifacts. Makes sense, right? And yeah, Swirling Sandstorm is a common card to be played for the Elves and Stompy matchup, and Heroic, I guess. So yeah, once again, I have more good cards in the deck than I have slots. I'll try it like this. Though I'm not like cutting Thraben Spectres just feels like it has to be. Yeah, I keep saying common to mean like just as a normal word, not meaning the rarity, but that comes up like every 10 minutes or something. That word play. Why do I play Snowlands? For style points, and also to game the algorithm of going 5-0 and being 20 cards different from other 5-0 lists. It makes it more likely for your list to get posted if you play different basics than your competitors on the same deck. This actually feels like a mulligan. Thraben Inspector into Skyfisher is actually like a super nice curve, but I'm mana screwed. It's pretty close. And it's kind of slow. It's very vulnerable to getting spell started. Okay, I think I'll mulligan, though I don't like mulliganing in this matchup. Well, speaking of. Yeah, now I have a Glinthawk that doesn't do anything if they counter my enabler. They reasonably often board in like 2 or 3 annuls to counter your Prophetic Prism and Alchemist Vial and stop your Glinthawks from being able to bounce anything for value. Yeah, that's also true. Like, you're hiding a little bit of information by having snow-covered islands first, but that wasn't really the reason. I just played them for fun and for value. Minimize your EV of getting deck posted. That's the opposite. I don't think that's my goal at the moment. I'm not testing for like a Pro Tour or something where I have to hide info. If that was my concern, I would just drop at 4-0 and not play out the 5th match. I think at the moment getting my deck list posted is still very positive for me. Just to have more presence online and like more people can see my name and makes them more interested in my stream, all that stuff. Like the marketing effect is much more valuable than the hiding information aspect of it. Yeah, Blue-Red Delver has a lot fewer annuls. It sometimes still shows up. I've definitely seen it in this matchup as well. But it's more for like the decks that don't have a way of dealing with the resolved artifacts, which Mono Blue Delver, that is the case. Like you have to annul their Mirror Enforcer or whatever, otherwise you have trouble ever beating it. Icequake. I've never seen anyone play Icequake. I think there's like 2 land destruction spells for the same mana cost that are better. Mostly card Rancid Earth. This one is the one that people should be playing, and card... damn, I actually forgot what it was called. There's like the one that deals damage, which is basically like a Black Molten Rain. That is the card that people are actually playing, which they probably shouldn't be, because the mono-black deck doesn't really care about the incremental... Yeah, Choking Sands is the one that people play, and Rancid Earth is the one that people should be playing. Yeah, I'm aware that you get host for playing Snowlands. If it ever happens to me, I might reconsider. For now, I'm comfortable playing Snowlands. Okay, also in before Molten Rain. Anti-spam. Get wrecked, chat, with your card name spam. Yeah, Rancid Earth is great. I'm a huge proponent of Rancid Earth in Pauper, just because it allows you to like combine sideboard slots for different matchups into the same card. Like it is a sideboard card against elves and against like bounce land Tron decks. So decks that are on the exact opposite of the opposite end of the spectrum, you can bring the same card in against, and that just makes building a good sideboard a lot easier. Like in Eternal formats, you always need sideboard cards that are multi-purpose. And Rancid Earth does that for you, where Choking Sands really doesn't. Choking Sands is just a random land destruction spell in hibernation. Okay, let's see if I'm getting annulled. I guess not. Okay, let's resolve this while it's likely to still resolve. Don't daze me, bro. And in this matchup, I'm not as afraid of tapping out my Pyroblast, because there's no like Moldrifter that can come down and truly punish me for not being able to counter a blue spell on my opponent's turn. This is mostly just my impression of a Dispel. Allows me to counter my opponent's counter spell and resolve something that I really need to resolve. Because my deck is already so overloaded on creature removal. Like Gush is something that you want to be countering if you can, and like Ogre of Bolas is something that you are fine countering whenever it's possible. But neither of them are a huge concern. Countering Counterspell with Pyroblast is your main game plan. Still not ninjaing me. Okay. This is quite the hand. Though might just die to random Ogre of Bolas because I'm too proud to Lightning Bolt or Galvanic Blast them. Also have to be aware that I don't have Metalcraft yet once again. Judge call on me when I was borrowing friend's Pauper deck so I can do side events. What? Yeah, exactly. Electricity that can't be dispelled, that's exactly the point. And also just offers an electricity effect to decks that don't usually have it. I mean, you can bring in Shrivel, but like having two different functionalities in the same card is just so great. And also the Elf deck often gets mana screwed if you like kill all their mana dudes and blow up a land at the same time. It's actually surprisingly relevant for you to have land destruction against elves. Oh, this hand's awkward. It's possible I should just not be bringing in Electricities. Actually, if they sideboard out like they can reasonably side out some number of 1 toughness creatures in this matchup. And if they do that, then my current sideboarding plan might be weak to that. So it's pretty nice that I get to face this opponent in a round that doesn't really matter to see what they're doing, because that gives me some info on whether I should be sideboarding like this in the top 8 potentially or not. Okay, let's get rid of one of these before I take too much damage from it. Let's overwhelm our pride. And yeah, I guess it's Electricity that one. Found a target to trade 1 for 1 with. Sure. And let's Electricity that one again. There we go. Now let's become the Monarch. Damn it. Do still need to generate some card advantage, otherwise all this 1 for 1 trading is going to leave me behind once again, because they already resolved 2 Ogre of Bolases and a Gush, though I guess one of the Ogres didn't reveal anything. And yeah, they have more cards in hand than I do once again, so really reliant on finding better Screech, some Core Sky Fisher, something that generates an advantage. Okay. Yeah, that's actually the game state where I want to stop this from resolving. Sure. And want to stop this from resolving. Come on, Core Sky Fisher. Yes. There we go. Now we're cooking with gas. And marbles. Well, I called it 2 turns in a row, to be fair, so it didn't listen to me the first turn and then showed up the second turn. They never see it coming. Did I tell them to get good? Yeah. That's true, they did pick a weird card to fight over at a weird time. Like, the timing of it was very advantageous to me. And, okay, let's get rid of this before they ninja it back, I guess. Sure, yeah. Still slightly behind against their 4 cards with my 2 cards, I guess. But, yeah. There's still, like, a bunch of blowout top decks that I can have. Mostly, like, Better Screech, Core Skyfishers are still great. But, yeah, if I flood out here, I might be in trouble. And especially another Stormbound Geist from my opponent would be a huge issue. More Gush is also annoying. Why would you want to Pyro the Miscreant over the Ninja anyways? What? No, you don't want to pyro miscreants. Opponent was insisting that I didn't know what it meant. So I told him, okay, I see. So tricky they're actually legal. Yeah, those are the most tricky of them all. Glinthawk. So Glinthawk kind of requires a counter spell, but I guess this is not the greatest time to pick a fight over it. Like, let's just wait while my opponent has set himself back on mana a little bit by casting all these gushes. I want to have, like, I have all the mana in the world available to me. I want to have a turn where I run Glinthawk into counterspell and then can follow it up with a Core Skyfisher or something to overload my opponent's counter magic. Also somehow ahead in the timeout battle. No idea how that happened when I was talking to chat for half the game. Some fairy trickery. Well played, Texas Frisbee. Yeah, more lands I'm definitely interested in seeing. Well, I guess they brainstormed, so it's not that great for me. But still, we are at a very similar land count. I'm once again slightly behind in terms of card advantage. And they're even holding the land, so I guess now they can't counterspell me. Wow. That seems strange that they didn't leave open double blue. Because now Spell Stutter, Galvanic Blast, everything's great for me. Yeah, opponent making some strange plays for sure. Still not sure if I have any kind of advantage against a 6-card hand. Most likely I'm still behind, because at some point they're just going to resolve a Stormbound Geist or something and just wreck me with it. And yeah, my creatures aren't going to persist for very long. Yeah, I need their hand to be like all low impact cards. Okay, Ninja not drawing a card and then dying to bolt is very favorable to me. And I'm kind of just spinning wheels here also. More Skyfishers, please. Oh, let's get this out of here as well. Yeah, this matchup's pretty sweet. Legacy Tournament, our hero has some lands on board and a Pithing Needle in hand. Oh yeah, I know that story. You keep repeating it. Wasn't Japanese, was borrowing from a friend. All but Japanese faults. Same guys who want to remove our Greyford in response to your... Yeah, that does not work for sure. Okay, there's the Stormbound guys that I was afraid of. I still have 3 Journey to Nowheres in my deck, but this card is quite the beating. Yeah, I get it. Did your opponent read the effing card? Yeah, getting wrecked here. Kinda were pretending to be in the game for quite a while, but then flooded out pretty badly. I think I actually need to shave a land also. Probably take out the Bojuka Bog, because these games constantly happen where both players are like flooding out. Wow. If I draw Pyro, I guess they need to not have another ninja for this to go well for me, but if I find a Pyroblast for the... Damn, okay, not going well for me. Yeah, pretty much wrecked here. My opponent just had more card advantage. I was behind the entire game, even though they played it pretty poorly in terms of when and how they used their spell status sprites. God damn. Yeah, and probably I don't even want Electrickeries in my deck. Like, not sure. the way that my opponent approached this, probably better to have like Palace Sentinels and the Thraben Inspectors or something. Though Palace Sentinels are pretty dangerous, because if you ever fall behind in the air, it's pretty difficult for you to make use of them in any way. Yeah, feels bad, man. Yeah, that's what happens when you ever fall behind. They just like draw a million cards and then all the irrelevant cards get counterspelled. And if you end up being ahead, then like they are just fighting with like lightning bolts and galvanic blast, or lightning bolts and scrats against like Battle Screech and Core Skyfisher, and that's a hopeless battle for them as well. So it's pretty snowbally, this matchup. I mean, it's snowbally in the sense that both of us have drawn like the top 40 cards of a library, and we kind of compare whose top 40 cards are better than the other ones. So still pretty low variance overall, but yeah, got crushed here. No, I lost another game. Okay, I think I want to cut a land and have like probably all the Palace Sentinels in the deck and like fewer Electricries, though some of them still help against Spellstutter. It feels like my opponent boarded out Delvers, which I think is a reasonable approach because they're like the only flyer that doesn't generate an advantage. Sure. That is true, Cronus Event, though I did lose a game previously, so. Astonished and humbled. This deck needs Moldrifters. Whose deck? I mean, both of the decks could use Moldrifters. Moldrifter is a sweet card. You can never go wrong with Moldrifter. We could build Jeskai, but it's pretty... Yeah, I don't know. Custody Squire just seems like a better Moldrifter. Not because it's a better card, but because you don't have to stretch yourself into 3 colors for it. Deal with this fairy or not deal with this fairy? Probably not. It's pretty awkward to get hit by a ninja here, but such is life. Sometimes you get hit by a ninja. That's just kind of how my draw works out here. I like Divination. Let's not shit talk Divination. Divination's great. But yeah, you cast Moldrifter for 5 mana, a lot more than for 3 mana. Or at least I do. And Jace's Ingenuity is a lot better than Divination. Wow, this bounce land is super awkward here. Because like I want to journey this, but then I can't. I guess I have to bolt it and attack my clue. Or bolt it and vial. I wanted to journey it away. No, I guess keeping the journey for Stormbound guys is better anyways, so yeah. And then keep open Pyroblast was my idea, but I guess this is better anyways. Just have journey left in my hand. Can't Ghostly Flicker at Divination, that's also definitely true. Believe me, I've tried. I've Ghostly Flickered pretty much everything that there is to Ghostly Flicker. I think me and 420 Dragon are probably like the 2 people in the world that have cast the most Ghostly Flickers on Magic Online. I don't think I'm anywhere like below. I'm definitely in the top 5. I think I should just be second place in most ghostly flickers. So Core Skyflicker can't get countered here, so that has to be great for me, right? I mean, it gets bolted at some point. Maybe I should have just bet the Screech, but this seems a little better, so I don't know. Can bet the Screech next turn. Now they are pretty far behind and like feels like they're just getting crushed. It wasn't meant that way. Get your mind out of the gutter, Matrix. But yeah, I've definitely cast my fair share of ghostly flickers. Back in my day when we could still ghostly flicker Cloud of Fairies. Sure, that was a pretty good turn for me being tapped out of Pyroblast, but Better Screech, Flashback Better Screech should also be a pretty great turn for me. No, not Electric. No, never mind. My Better Screech is not that great. They have Electricity in their hand now. That's also interesting to know. Like, that's the main advantage of playing this scouting game here. That I get to know a bunch more about my opponent's list. This bounce land is once again pretty awkward. Damn, this bounce land's so bad. I guess I still run this. Because I want to keep my Pyroblast open once again, but then I can't recast Vial. Sure. Because if I recast Vial, I don't have a red source anymore, so not having a Prophetic Prism on the board actually hurting me quite a bit, but I guess I do get to crack Clue if I just pass the turn like this. I'm probably even making, like, if they make an attack, I can block Glinthawk on Fairy Miscreant and Augur of like Thraben Spectre on Augur of Bolas, then they're like, oh wow, I get to 2-for-1 my opponent with Electricity, because it kills both of my creatures. And then I'm like, oh no, not Electricity, and then I follow it up with Better Screech. I think that is my plan. Damn it. Super weak to Spellstutter if I try fighting over this. But I do want to fight over it. No, I guess you have it. Augur of Bolas on the board isn't that big of a deal, and if they ever miss on their spell, it's great. I guess they pondered, so it's pretty unlikely they miss. Or basically impossible for them to miss. What? No, it's still resolving. I was like, what? There was some kind of message there. Okay, Counterspell. Counterspell is annoying. Still might just time out opponent. Glinthawk, yeah. Turbo Kitty. Oh yeah, Turbo Kitty was like a previous name of this deck. Or like, it was a similar deck. It's no longer really Koldotha, so... Yeah, sure, let's take my turn. Not really any point in bolting something here. Sure. I can fight both their spell status sprite and their counter spell with this. Okay. Though I end up with one less red mana the way that I tapped. But the upside was that I made it less apparent that I was going to do this. I can just recast this to get a clue. Instead of bouncing the vial, that seems slightly better. Slight optimization. Oh, my opponent caught up on time because I had some quite mechanically taxing turns and some difficult decisions to think about. But yeah, my only red sources being bounce lands here has definitely hurt my sequencing in multiple turns, where I would have liked to play a different spell or something, but my inability to keep open red mana with those spells made it bad for me. That looks like a pretty ninja-y attack to me. Is this enough to make them cast Electricity? Probably is. Like they ninja me here. Sure. They still at least kill my Glinthawk with the Electricity, so yeah. I guess they don't. Double ninja, wow. Okay, I guess I did open that up to them. Still doesn't feel that bad. They're tapped out here. And I get to deal with their ninjas on the board pretty easily while they're tapped out. Maybe that was bad. Yeah, letting them bounce double augur was definitely problematic for me. But I guess they are pretty far behind on the board now, and I can Electricity my Battle Screech, but they're taking a ton of damage in the process. And they also have to like get their augurs back onto the board, just in general get a board presence of any sort, so seems like a good way to just switch from a controlling game plan to a tempo game plan if they like double ninja, because they're now crushing me in the card advantage game, but they're super far behind on the board. Chaos Painter, thank you for your follow. And they can only cast a single red spell each turn, one of which has to be Electricity to deal with these birds. And then I still have flashback capabilities. I still have flyers on the board that the Electricity doesn't deal with. I guess they choose not to cast Electricity, but that's also fine for me. So yeah, I think change of plans, shift of gears, whatever you want to call it. Let's probably bolt this dude. No, it doesn't seem too worth it. They still have counterspell in their hand that I know about. So I guess running... Like, the reason I would have wanted to bolt this was so that my opponent might consider counterspelling this to take less damage. But I think I'll hold on to the bolt for a more worthy target and not cast anything into their counterspell. They need to deal with my board, and if they float 2 mana every turn, keeping open counterspell, and I float more mana each turn by not casting anything into counterspell, that ends up being favorable to me. Because like I'm the one ahead on the board, so if both of us are wasting mana, then it's good. Sure. Though the Stormbound guys is very much not good for me, though now I have found a turn where their counterspell is not open. Also they're in insane time trouble. So I think we're going to take down our Fun Z's match. I can bounce this, get rid of this, and then bolt the ninja. Or just try to kill them. Oh, that seems pretty nice. Should have tapped this earlier once again, but ended up working out the same. This was quite the tight match for sure, though. What did they do? Scrat, sure. Yeah, I mean, ninja is slightly unfortunate, but I'm not too afraid of it. I don't want to throw away a bird just so that they can't ninja, especially because it costs them a squillion seconds. Feels like the game ended. Yeah, there we go. Easiest match of my life. Never ever close to losing that.